What's up, boys? Not really the normal recording, because guess what we're talking about today? Some NHL hockey. It's free agency tomorrow. I'm just chilling, watching some NHL highlights, and listening to Summer '69 by Bryan Adams. So just chilling around, and I've been working on the spreadsheet for a couple hours now, but I think I finally got it done. I listed I think my top 25 free agents. It was 26, but Malkin re-signed earlier, 4 years, $6.1 million. It's like 8 years, 8 mil in the first year, 6 in the second, 5.6 in the third, and then 4.5 in the last year. No movement clause, but kind of screwed me up a little bit, but it's all good. So I think most of y'all know that the best free agent. Well, actually, this is kind of, y'all won't know most of this kind of stuff because I mostly talk about NFL and Nashville, at least, and down south. No one really cares about hockey unless it's the Preds. But I got my Team Canada jersey on and my Avs hat on because everyone's clowning me for my Avs hat, even though I've had it for like 4 years. But just to kick it off, Johnny Gaudreau, best free agent we've seen in quite a long time, and he had a career year last year. He played all 82 games. He had 40 goals, 75 assists, 115 points, and plus minus. I know a lot of people don't really love plus minus, but he had a 64 plus minus, which is just so much more than anyone else on this list. And in the playoffs, he did a pretty decent job. 12 playoff games, he had 3 goals, 11 assists for 14 points, which unfortunately they did not make. They won the first round but lost to the mighty Oilers in the second round. But Johnny Gaudreau, he's a United States kid. He's from kind of the Northeast area, and he's going to go home. He's going to go home to Philly. I just saw a picture of him today in a Flyers uniform as a kid. That's pretty sick. So I think he goes to the Flyers. They bought out Oscar Lindblom today, so that clears some space. But they may need to buy out JVR or trade him. But I think he goes to the Flyers for 7 years, $10 million. It wasn't about the salary. That's why I didn't really sign with the Flames, because they could have paid him whatever he wanted, and he didn't come back. He wanted to come back home. He goes to the Flyers. Second best free agent, also cash out because he had a great year this year. Nazem Kadri, Stanley Cup champ. The Islanders need a center. I mean, I kind of spoiled the pick, but I have him going to the Islanders. They miss out on Gaudreau, so they get Kadri. 7 years, $8 million. He had 71 games, 28 points, or 28 goals, 59 assists for a whopping total of 87 points. And for the playoffs, he had 13 games because he got hurt in one of the series. 16 goals, 7 assists. It just insane. Just absolutely insane. Sorry, I got that wrong. 16 games, 7 goals, 8 assists for 15 points. Still really good, but I have him going the Islanders, cashing out, stays there for almost the rest of his career. And then this one is, I think, kind of surprising. It's the first big defenseman on the board, Jonathan Klingberg from the Stars. I think he cashes out and rides the rest of his career. The Kraken are going to sign him 7-7 deal. I think that's kind of expensive, but that's just kind of what I've heard. He's going to take right shot defenseman. That's kind of needed in this league. 74 games, 6 goals, which, I mean, it's all right for a defenseman. It's the assist and an playing actual defense. He had 41 assists for a whopping total of 47 points. Playoffs, I mean, they played 7 games and he only got 1 assist. But yeah, he goes to the Kraken. They load up on that defense. I think my 4th best free agent, which, man, if anyone, he's the one that kind of boosted his stock, especially in the playoffs. This is Evander Kane. Had a gambling problem, I believe, and also like arrested. I haven't checked it up on that. I may be totally wrong, but anyways, he just was a baller in the playoffs for the Oilers. Like that line of Draisaitl, McDavid, and Kane, like I personally think that's one of the deadliest all time. Just because Draisaitl and McDavid is one of the deadliest all times anyways. And adding Kane, oh my God. But he signed like a 1-year, like $1 million deal with the Oilers, and he just balled out. So he played 43 games, 22 goals, 17 assists for 39 points. He had a 25 plus minus, which is pretty good. In the playoffs, holy shit. He had 13 goals in 15 games, 4 assists for 17 points. And he also had like a hat trick in one of the games as well. Like he's that dude. He is him. And I think I mean, thinking about it now, I don't think they could afford him maybe, but Evander Kane to the Panthers, it just kind of makes sense. They lose out on GAUDREAU, and I could see him kind of going anywhere. It's kind of a wild card where he's going to go, but I haven't gone to the Panthers for 4-year contract, $7 million annually. Next dude, speaking of the Panthers, GAUDREAU. He got traded to the Panthers at the deadline for a hefty price, and it's going to be unfortunate when they don't keep him, because all signs point to that. He scored when he was with Philly. He played 57 games, 18 goals, 24 assists for 42 points. And what I did on the spreadsheet is, if they got traded at the deadline, I included every game that they played, regular season and playoffs, and combined it into one. So he played 28 games total with the Panthers, 6 goals, 25 assists, for 31 points. But which isn't, it's okay. I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, it's more than a point per game, but people thought he would do better, which, I mean, I don't know. But I think he cashes out. He goes back home. Don't forget about that. He goes to the Sens. He's from that type of area. He goes to the Sens. The Sens are one of the best teams. One of the rising teams in hockey right now. I mean, they just got Alex DeBrincat for just a highway robbery. And they traded Matt Murray today, and they also got Cam Talbot today. And, man, they're just on the rise. And they've made that, I can't remember the GM's name. It's like Darcey or something with a D, but he's done a really great job. He's definitely become the free agent of the offseason so far. And he goes and gets GAUDREAU for 5 years, $7 million, which is kind of steep on the years, but, whatever. And then here's back-to-back goalies. Stanley Cup champ, Darcy Kuemper. He cashes out. He didn't play super great in the playoffs, but he's also hurt with like an eye injury, which I couldn't even imagine how hard that would be for a goaltender, especially in the NHL. But he played pretty well during the regular season. In 57 games, he had 2.54 goals against average and a .921 save percentage, which is pretty solid. And then 16 playoff games, which he won a Stanley Cup, so it doesn't matter. 2.5 .57 goals against, and at .902, which is it's okay. It's pretty good. And he cashes out, goes to the Capitals. I've heard a lot of rumors of him going to the Capitals, so that's why I pick him. And because they just cut Samsonov, and they traded Vanecek to the Devils. And he signs with the Capitals 5 years, $6 million. And they're going to try and keep that core together just for a couple more years. And I think Kuemper can help. And then another goalie, Jack Campbell, to the Oilers. They need him so bad. That's literally the missing piece, because Mike Smith is literally the biggest liability in hockey right now. And he's going to go on LTIR, and they got swept. That's why they got swept out of the Avs, because Mike Smith is awful. He is so bad. I will go on and on. He did kind of screw the Preds a couple years ago in the playoffs when he played for the Coyotes, but he is awful now. And I think the Oilers and Kevin Dubas is like, screw it, I'm finally going to go for a goaltender. And he's going to sign Jack Campbell to a 6-year, $6 million deal. He worse stats than Kuemper. He in 49 games, he had 2.64 goals against average and a .914 save percentage. And in the playoffs, 7 games, which the Leafs being the Leafs, so I'm not going to put too much fault to him. Just because it's the freaking Leafs, and I don't even know. They're just bad in the playoffs, especially when the game goes to Game 7. But he had a 3.14 goals against average and a .897 save percentage, which if it's under .9, it's not super great. And then here's kind of my sleeper. He's kind of ranked like top 15, but I have him ranked as 8th, and that's Vincent TROCHEK. I've liked him forever, ever since he came in the league. And maybe just because I got him in franchise and he gets a similar last name to me, TROCHEK and TACHEK. It's kind of similar. And he's with the Hurricanes, which I don't really like the Hurricanes because they've beaten the Preds in the playoffs. It's not fun. But he's not. I think he goes to the Rangers. They need that second line center after they're gonna lose Andrew Kopp, who they traded for at the deadline. He signs a 4-year, $6 million deal. He played 81 games, just shy of the. Well, there isn't really a max, but I guess 83 is the max, maybe 84. Anyways, 21 goals, 30 assists, 51 points, and then in the playoffs, 14 games, 6 goals, 4 assists, and 10 points. So, but I think he's a sleeper. I think if the Rangers get him, they could not easily, but I think they can make another run at the Stanley Cup. They would need to get through. Actually, no, they could easily make the Stanley Cup next year. Tampa's not going to be nearly as good, I don't think, but I don't know. What do I know? And then, speaking of Tampa, ONDREJ PALAT, he's literally played under John Cooper in the minors and the pros his entire career. It's like really weird. But this one was between two teams. It was between the Flames and the Detroit Red Wings. With the Red Wings, he could have gone with Stevie Y to Detroit, but I actually have him going with Flames because I feel like the Flames throw a bunch of money at him just for his age because he's 31, and I think he gets 5 years, $6 million from the Flames because the Flames lose Johnny Gaudreau and they need a guy to replace to actually stay in contention. Because if they don't get anyone, they might as well just trade Tkachuk. For like Hall, obviously, like 3 first-round draft picks plus a very good prospect, like an NBA type trade. But I mean, PALAT had 77 games, 18 goals, 31 assists, 41 points, and then the playoffs, 23 games, 11 goals, 10 assists for 21 points. And I think he's just kind of like forgotten on that team, but he's such a good player, and he needs to get paid. So that's why he's going to Calgary. And then here's a guy who I could easily see re-signing with this team at least one more time in his career when this contract runs out. And that's David Perron, drafted by the Blues, left in free agency, went to the Oilers, I believe, went to a couple teams, went back to the Blues, got picked by Vegas in the expansion draft, and then went back to the Blues. Contract's finally up. I think he cashes out once again. 3 years, $6.5 million to go to the Devils. And then once that contract runs up, he's going to sign a 1-year deal with the Blues and then retire. But he scored 27 goals, 30 assists, 57 points, and in the playoffs, 12 games, 9 goals, 4 assists for 13 points, so over a point per game. So that's pretty good in the playoffs. And I think the Devils miss out on GAUDREAU, so they go and get Perron, just another good option. And that rounds up my top 10. So right outside my top 10, it's a string of Avalanche moves. Andrew Kopp. I mean, with what I just said, you know who he's going to. He's going to the Avs. And with this, I should have ordered it differently, but I think he's better than these next 3 guys. Andrew Kopp, I think he goes to the Avs because they lose out on a player you'll hear next. And Nazem Kadri, who I already talked about. And so they're just kind of replacing Kadri. He signs a 5-year, $5 million deal with the Avs. He got traded from Winnipeg midway through the season. 56 games, 13 goals, 22 assists for 35 points, and then 26 playoff games. That can't be right. Yeah, 26 playoff games. Yeah, I guess because they went to Game 7 multiple times. 14 goals, 18 assists for 32 points. So he played really well in the playoffs. And, I mean, because he played so well in the playoffs, Winnipeg got a first-round draft pick for him because of, they got a second, but, incentives or whatever. But, yeah, he cashed out with the Avs, and they make another title run. Speaking of the Avs, they lose a bunch of guys because they can't re-sign all of them, but they're trying their best to replace them. And one of the guys that they replace is the one of 2 guys on that team that had already won a Stanley Cup before they won this year, and that is Andrei Burakovsky. He won one with the Capitals with Ovi, but he played really well. 80 games, 22 goals for 39 points, 62 points. In the playoffs, he had 12 goals in 12 games plus 3 assists. Sorry. The plus and minus just kind of screwed me up. I just kind of need to delete this category. He had 12 games, 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points, which is okay. But they won a Stanley Cup, so he doesn't really care if he gets paid. But I think the Oilers, after losing Patrick Kane, they got to go after another winger. And I think this could blow up in their face. But I thought signing Zach Hyman would blow up in their face, but it hasn't, and he's played really well. So I think Burakovsky signs the Oilers, replaces Kane. 6 years, $6 million. I think that may be kind of expensive, but, whatever it takes to win a championship, he'll hopefully win his 3rd ring soon. Another guy, I fell in love with this dude. This dude is awesome. Josh Manson. the Ducks traded him at the deadline to the Avs, won a cup. So awesome. And he, with the Ducks, he put up 45 games, which is, this is kind of shocking. I did my research before, but I guess I just didn't look into this. But he had 4 goals, 5 assists, and 9 points in 45 games. And I guess his just defensive skill was good, but that's just shocking because, oh, okay, I know what it did. Kind of embarrassing, but I doubt anyone's listening at this point. He, whatever. Big mistake by me. Just look it up yourself, I guess. But he had 5 goals, 10 assists in the playoffs for 15 points. Man, that's stupid by me. Anyways, and he goes to the Ducks. He goes back to the Ducks, and he is named the captain of that team because Getzlaf is retiring. That would be pretty awesome to get traded, go half a season, win a Stanley Cup, then go back to your original team and get banked $5 million for 5 years, average AAV, obviously. And yeah, it gets named the captain of the Anaheim Ducks. And then here, this player already signed, but I got it right, so I'm kind of flexing on myself. Vladimir Nichushkin, a staple for the Avs in the playoffs. He played so well. In 20 games, he had 9 goals, 6 assists for 15 points. He played a pretty well regular season as well. 52 points in 62 games, 25 goals, 27 assists. He was the 10th overall pick in 2013 by the Dallas Stars, and he just did nothing there. And then he signed a 1 or 2 year, like $800,000 contract with the Avs, and then re-signed with a 2 year, like $5 million like total, so like 2.25, and then he's gonna cash out. He's gonna get $4 million a year for 8 years, or around $4 million a year. So just flex on that for 1 for 1 so far. And then Ryan Strome, Rangers, they lose their one of their centers, and because they can't pay them all, they're gonna try to go after these big time free agents, and I think they replace Andrew Copp. I don't know. I'm just talking about out of my ass at this point. Anyways, Ryan Strome, he's not gonna resign with the Rangers, and I think he signs with the Red Wings because they don't get PALAT, and they just kind of need a depth piece on that down the middle. I know PALAT is a winger, but still. And he gets 3 years, $4.5 million. He played okay. He played pretty well during the regular season. 72 games, 22 goals, 33 assists for 54 points. And during the playoffs, he kind of was 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points. He signs with the Red Wings. Ben Chiarot, this one was kind of just boring, to be honest. He just re-signs with the Panthers. He got traded from Montreal halfway through the season, and they gave up like a first and another pick and a prospect. And if you lose out on GIROUX and Chiarot, like, that's just really bad. I know you're making a cup run, but I mean, you got like swept by the Lightning, so that was super embarrassing. So you got to re-sign one of them. I think you get 4 years, $4 million for him. Good defenseman. I hope I've been saying. Yeah, all right. He's the only him, Josh Manson, and Klingberg have been the only defensemen so far, and I hope I've been clear with that. But he had 54 games, 7 goals, 11 assists for 18 points in the regular season, and then 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points during the playoffs. Here's another guy that I like a lot, Vladimir Tarasenko. He's on the Blues, and everyone thought Vegas or the Kraken were going to take him in the expansion draft, and they don't. Speaking of the Kraken, VLADIMIR just scores and a 3-on-3, the highlights I'm watching. Doesn't matter. No one's going to hear this up to this point. If you are listening to this at this point, comment Summer of '69. I don't know, that's the first song that came on when I started recording. It's a pretty solid song. But Tarasenko, he's a winger. He hasn't been performing up to his standards. Actually, you know what? That's a total lie. I just looked at his stats. I need to snap out of it. He had 75 games, 34 assists for 48 points, and 34 goals with 48 assists for 82 points. It's more than a point per game. He has been playing well. In the playoffs, 6 goals, 3 assists for 9 points. I don't know why I said that. I was probably thinking of someone else. But yeah, he's going to go to the Hurricanes for 2 years, $5 million. So I feel like I don't like the Hurricanes, but I think that's the best fit. All right, here's we're starting to get to the bottom of the list. Preds legend, Calle Jarnkrok, selected by the Kraken expansion draft and traded midway through the season at the trade deadline to the Flames with 49 games with the Kraken, 12 goals, 14 assists, 26 points, and then in the playoffs he had 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points. And I think he goes to the Blue Jackets. I don't know, gut feeling. They gotta sign someone, and I think they could be in win now mode. I could see them signing ONDREJ PALAT. That might be a cool pickup, but he signed a 3-year, $4 million deal to go to Columbus. So this one, there's 2 players on this list, and they're back to back that I don't really know too much about, but I hope I don't. Ilya Makachev plays for the Leafs. He's a winger. He's just been in the news, the hockey news at least, for kind of demanding that he gets paid over $4 million. So I think the Stars give it to him. 4 years, $4 million. No real basis behind this. I mean, these are the only 2 really players that I'm kind of just iffy on. He had 53 games, 21 goals, 11 assists for 32 points. And then when the Leafs lost in 7, he had 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. So I think he goes to the Stars. I don't like the Stars, so hopefully he gets paid a lot and doesn't do well. But I need to stop writing down my people's downfall. Here's the other guy I don't really know too much about. I know his dad just passed away. He was a legend for the Sharks. Mason Marchment. He's currently on the Florida Panthers, and he's a winger. And I could see him going to the Sharks, but I mean they have a lot of wingers that they pay a lot of money. So I have him going to the Kraken, 3 years, $3.5 million for the Panthers this year, and 54 games, 18 goals, 29 assists for 47 points, and 4 playoff games, he had 1 goal, 0 assists for 1 point. And yeah, it's unfortunate about his pops, but yeah, I have him signing with the Kraken. Next, I hope Preds fans have been listening to this so far. Phil the Thrill Kessel signs with the Nashville Predators. I would love this move. Just kind of put up depth. And we signed him for a 1 year, $2 million, because hell, why not? He played 82 games, 8 goals, which is not great, but 42 assists for 52 points. And he is one of 3 players on this list to not make the playoffs. So I think Phil the Thrill kind of screwed us when he played for the Pens and beat us in Game 6. But he's going to come to Nashville and help us win a cup. And then another Preds legend, PK Subban. Love that kid to death. He's another defenseman. He's one of 4 defensemen on this list. He's with the New Jersey Devils. We got 2 second-round draft picks plus 2 prospects that didn't really stay with us because he's like $8 million a year, $9 million a year. It's ridiculous. But he in 77 games, 5 goals, 17 assists, 22 points. Love this kid to death. And I think he goes to Avalanche, tries to win a cup. That'd be so cool. 1 year, $2.5 million, and I could easily see him resign. Love for him to resign with the Preds or go back to the Preds, but I think he goes to the Avs. Now to Nito Niederreiter. Great name, by the way. He's on the Hurricanes. Don't really like the Hurricanes. Don't really like Nito Niederreiter, but in 75 games, and 26 goals, 20 assists, 44 points, and in this 14 playoff games, that may be right, but I don't know. I feel like these games have kind of been iffy. Anyways, and quote-unquote 14 playoff games, which he may or may have not done. I may have just messed up on my research. He had 4 goals, 1 assist for 5 points, and a -5 plus minus, which is not great. And I think he signs with Tampa Bay. They lose PALAT. They need to replace him somehow. So he signs a 1 year, $2.5 million contract with the Lightning. Tries to win a cup. I know he played for the Wild, and then he played for the Hurricanes, and he's going to play for the Lightning next. And then here's another Russian named Ilya Samsonov. Capitals did not qualify him. He was an RFA. Speaking of the Capitals, they're on the highlights right now. And Samsonov just got scored on by Austin Matthews. That's kind of funny. Or ironic. Anyways, and shit, that's very ironic. Because I have Samsonov signing with the Leafs because they're losing Jack Campbell. They trade for Matt Murray, take on some cap and some contracts, some cap and get some draft picks. But I think he signs with the Leafs, 2 years, $2 million. On 44 games, he had a 3.02 goals against average and a .896 save percentage, which is not great. But in 5 playoff games, he had a 2.97 goals against average and a .912 save percentage, which is pretty solid. And I think he goes to the Leafs because why not? I guess they're whatever. Finally, I love this kid as well. Don't like the team that he's on. Paul Stastny. He's 36, 37 years old. He's trying to win a cup. And I think he goes to a contender because I think Bruins are contenders. And I think he signs a 2 year, $2 million contract with the Jets. He also did not make the playoffs. Thank God, because I hate the Jets. He signs a 2 year, $2 million. He played 71 games, 22 goals, 24 assists for 45 points. He signs with the Bruins, becomes like the third line center. But yeah, I hope y'all like this, and I really hope this mic sounded good, because I haven't on a wire running on my chest because I didn't want to hold it up to my face, and it like being inconsistent. So I hope it's still well. I'm sorry about just being like an idiot talking, and I guess that's what having dyslexia is, and can't read. But a lot of y'all don't know hockey, but I hope I can help y'all's knowledge. And it's 1 in the morning right now, and I'm gonna literally finish editing this at like 2:30. So because the free agency starts at 11 Central Time. So let's see how many are right. I'm guessing that I would be happy if 5 or more of these are right, and I'm gonna guess 3 of them are gonna be right, not counting Nichushkin, sorry. So that's it, boys. Glad to be back. Appreciate y'all's support, and hope you liked the video. I'll see you guys later.